Okay, it looks like we're streaming. You've got my beautiful view of the screen in front of you. Welcome to the inaugural, what are we calling this? Handcrafted micro tool building session in Coda. I'm Andy. I'm the founder and principal of Morning Strategy Work Design Studios agency. And yeah, today is my 45th birthday, which means, to me at least, if I want to live till I'm 90, then I'm halfway through. And I don't know, it's time to get serious, I guess. I've been thinking a lot about action versus planning and various learning styles. I'm just trying to find the stream on my phone just to make sure it's going here. Um, yeah, and I spent a lot of time in like conceptual mode, thinking and reading and developing frameworks in my mind, mental models. It's like, when do you switch to that action mode where you put these things out in the world and start getting feedback? And it's like those additional actions or externalizing these like internal models is what fuels learning. So um, yeah, I mean, I think it's just time. So here we are with this new series where I want to start some um, building some tools. This is it. All right, great. Um, I have no access to the chat though, so without figuring that one out on the fly, um, you put stuff in the chat, but I'm not gonna be able to see it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and build and uh, talk stream of consciousness along the way, I guess. Um, yeah, essentially, if what I've learned about myself over the last few years is that I love to just like build small um, workplace productivity tools, and so it's like, why don't I just do that more regularly and do some more experimenting? So this is where we are today, and the micro tool I want to build today is this learning style inventory quiz, because this is based on a book, Kolb. What's his name? David Kolb. Kolb Learning Styles. What's his first name? Um, David. Okay, so um, amazing kind of four-stage learning model. And this quiz, this learning style inventory says like, what's your natural mode of learning? And he answers some of these questions, and it spits out a score, and you're supposed to plot it on this chart and see where you sort of gravitate to naturally. And to me, the point of it is to um, identify these places where you can expand. And it's like, if I know that I'm naturally strong, let's say in this abstract conceptualization, um, maybe like reflective observation. So it's like I can think critically about the stuff that I have experienced and then add it to my mental models, which is this abstract conceptualization. But maybe I'm not so good at this like active experimentation piece, and so it's like, that's where this model and doing this inventory can really help and say, how can I stretch myself? How can I do a bit better at learning and kind of speed my learning, improve my learning processes. So anyway, nice kind of little quiz with a few quirks. The way this works is, these are the only 10 questions. What it says, you're supposed to put a number beside, for question one, you got 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's like you're supposed to put a 4 with the word that best characterizes your learning style. It's like these things are super subjective. You just look at the words and say, "Oh, discriminating. That doesn't, feel like me. I'm gonna put a 1 there," and it's like involved. Maybe that really feels like me, so I'll put a 4. So um, that's where I'm going to try to build, and I don't know, I'm just going to stop talking about it and just start doing it. So beautiful coda.new. I love that that is a option. Oh, and I'm going to call it Kolb's learning. What is it? Learning inventory style? Learning style inventory. Learning style inventory. And so that I don't have to keep switching back and forth. I think I downloaded this. I'm just gonna drag the there's this guy just to remind me of I guess how much I liked Garfield in the 80s. I don't really remember liking Garfield enough to wear the shirt on picture day, but here we are. I also don't remember thinking that hairstyle was cool enough to warrant it. Why isn't this going here? There it is. Just took a bit of time. Okay, so by embedding that PDF now, I don't have to go uh, back and forth. So I'm just going to call this reference PDF, and I'll make a new page for my tables. So yeah, I would love for this to be something that like a team could do. It's like 5 or 6 people all take this test. And it's like you learn about each other, and then you can pop the results into ChatGPT and say, "Hey, I am assimilative learner by nature. How can I better work with someone who's a divergent learner?" It's like you can do all sorts of stuff like that once you have this information to feed into something else. But first, we need to be able to have the information. I don't know. Do the test, run the test, and compare results. So that means at some point, any person who does this is going to have these 10 questions with like their name beside it, right? So it's like Andy's question one, Andy's question two. But I'm not going to worry about that kind of stuff at the moment. I think I'll just start with a table as if I'm just building this for myself. So / is your beauty command and new table there. So I'm going to call this learning style inventory questions. And I think what I need to do is you can see underneath it says CEROACAE, and those are the down here concrete experience, reflective observation. This thing usually has some arrows in between it to say like, hey, you can go from one to the other, so you can kind of pair them. You can slip in and out of using active experimentation, then adding things to your mental models and whatnot. But anyway, these questions here or these words here all feed into the CERO. So I think what I can do is say, let's delete these and say, okay, this is going to be my CE word, and I want, I think, a number now. How do I want to do this? Select list, I guess, for the numbers, right? So select list new, and I'll call it CE score. And so in that case, question one should be involved, and my options for the score, if I edit the column, I often find myself taking the colors off. It will be guess 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, involved. I can choose one or whatever I feel the affinity towards. So I'll have ROACAE. So if I copy these, can I? Oh, there we go. Yep. And I can't duplicate them both. Or if I Control C, Control V. Nope. I just did something weird. Okay, so what I'm going to do is duplicate as empty column, and I'm going to call this, what was the next one? RO word, I think. All right, I'm going to move that over. RO word, and it's AC and AE. So another duplicate, and I'm going to call this A. What did I say? Boy, I can't remember things today. AC word, and I'm going to duplicate one more time. And this is going to be AE word. All right, then I have to do the same for this. Duplicate, empty. This is my RO score. And I guess while I'm doing this, if I can talk about the thing while I do the thing, which is going to be potentially a challenge. I'll just say the way that I tend to build when it's something like this, just, for fun, is really via like experimentation, where I'm not overly concerned about, doing it the right way first. It's like I just want to try some things out. Tentative, discriminating. What's the other one? Practical. Well, I don't really want to write all these things out, but I might have to because I bet this is not going to come out nicely, is it? Oh, paste views. Don't want to do that. If I go to here, try to copy and paste into here. Oh, okay. I don't know if that's better or not. I don't think it is. I think I'm better off just writing them out. Okay, so if I do that now for every one of these, I can assign my scores, right? I could say, oh, why is that one colored now? Oh, because they're each separate. Right. Okay. So here's where I don't want to use these separate scores, I don't think. I'm probably better off. I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm just going to do it. Okay. So I can convert this to a table, right? I can call this scores, and we'll put it in a new page. Okay. So now it's just a set table with these scores. And what I can do is change all of these to scores. Why is it making it so difficult to do? Okay, score. And I think this is going to be useful. I don't want to do that. This is going to be useful when I try to make it so that you can't choose a number that's already been chosen, because that's a big part of this. Like, you don't want to have a 4 in two places at the same time. It's part of the rules. So we got to make sure that those rules can be enforced. Okay, and I mean, it's nicely made sure that it's allow multiple selections is off. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure I know what I'm feeling. Okay, so involved, I can shorten these down a little bit. Scores are pretty short compared to the words. Now, I'm still working off of a laptop because I just moved to beautiful St. John's, Newfoundland, and that means that I'm using a trackpad and just like clickety clacking my way around. So everything's a little bit slower at the moment than I think it will be once I get set up. I'm also in my daughter's bedroom, which is one of my offices these days. Okay, so um, learning style inventory. What do I feel about these things? What am I gonna do about all these words? I guess the easiest thing to do would just be to go, okay, receptive. Okay, so if you want to go away, it's like I'm sure it's a YouTube best practice to send people away. Um, but this is going to take me a minute. If you're watching the recording, speed it up or skip ahead because, yeah. Okay, no. If you're just tuning in, hi, I'm building a tool, hopefully within an hour, and it's this learning style inventory questions or learning style inventory by David Kolb, and I have no access to the chat. It's my birthday, so if you're here to wish me a happy birthday, then go ahead and do so, and I'll feel it in my 45-year-old bones. If you're not here to wish me a happy birthday, then what are you doing here? Okay. What? Practical again? I hope this is right, because I mean, practical is already up there. They're really trying to get that one covered. Competent. I like that. It's like a minimum requirement. Okay, so here we are, one more, and then we can say, oh, intense. Reserve? It can't be reserved. It's gotta be like reserved, right? Oh, rational, responsible. Okay. Um, Now the only thing I see here that's gonna happen is because these are now a lookup to a table instead of an actual number, you can't like sum at the bottom to see that. There's a couple ways around that where we could put in a row at the bottom and call it sum. But I'm not going to worry about that for the moment because maybe this is embedded in someone's overall score as a separate table, right? So there'd be a separate table up here called learning style. And it'd be like my name, and I'd be able to look up to the learning style inventory questions, and then I could have my totals here. Yeah, okay, I'll figure that out later. So, I guess, boy, I really don't want to do this seriously, but I guess I need to. So, tentative. I'm not gonna put. Oh, right. So the other piece, we need to make sure that you can't select the same number twice. So this so that means that in the edit column, down here under options settings, this is where you can filter whatever the available options are. Okay, so I'm going to put a custom filter in. Boy, I probably should have done this on the first one and then copied them all across, but this is the fun of experimenting. So I'm going to add a formula that says what? It'll say scores dot filter. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to make a new column over here that's also called scores. And it is going to be a formula, and it'll say list combine CE score RO score AC score and AE score. Okay, so now what I can do is say, now that that's going to look up to everything that's here. So if I take this away and this away, then when I put that filter, let's see, if I say in a column, filter, yeah, it contains errors, it's incomplete. Filter where current value is really okay. Don't know. Just gonna keep just gonna keep going, assuming that we're recording something. Um, why is that showing up scores as okay, it's on there. So that was a little bit weird where it was showing scores down here in the formula as a text field when it's clearly pointing to the thing there. Okay, so and then it's not, right? Where it's where the scores filter where the current value is in scores, but it's not in scores. Okay, so let's try that. So if I now put in a number 1 here, no, I have all the options there still. Okay, so how about instead I do, I'm going to duplicate scores here, duplicate with calculation, copy of scores, and this is like, I'm going to call this not scores, and it'll be edit formula, and it'll say um, scores dot filter where current value is in scores dot not. Right? Okay, so now I've got the ones we've chosen and the ones we've not chosen. So now can I just say, in a column, I want to filter the settings such that, or can I just say not scores? No, there's all of them. Why? This row? No, it was already this row. Edit column. This is where comment or having access to the chat. Um, so it's already saying this row not scores. Example 2, 3, 4. Hmm. What if I do current value is in, not scores? Oh, okay, great. So, uh, figure that one out. So then the formula needs to be that the current value, I guess because it's filtering, right? So it's already set up the filter. So current value is in, not scores, which actually means I could probably do it's in scores dot not. Okay, and now I don't need not scores as a column. I can just use scores. So if I copy this and I'll just move it over to, oh, it's like what happens for the column where it's already, uh, I guess that's fine, right? Then I would choose another one and then that one becomes available again. Okay, hit a column. And now, and then AE score. Okay, so once this is working, then I can delete not scores, and I can go back and say, okay, uh, what do I have here? How do I feel about these questions? Involved, tentative, discriminating, practical, and sir, what are the instructions? We should probably copy those out and paste them above. Rank each set of words. Do not make ties. Do not make ties. Rank each set of words. Assign a 4 to the word which best characterizes your learning style, excuse me. So I'm supposed to know that about myself, but I think what I remember reading was this is supposed to be like subjective affinity, like intuition, sort of like so. Just go for it. Okay, I'm gonna say involved is 4, tentative is a 2, maybe discriminating is a 1, and I really do like to learn this stuff practically. Okay, so you can see now how I'll try to shorten some of these down a little bit more. You can see that by making these scores the table, it's just a nice way to make sure that you don't double select the number. Receptive, impartial, analytical, relevant. Receptive? I don't know what that means, but I like it. Analytical, I don't know that it's always relevant. I don't think it's ever impartial. I think it's always just partial. Feeling, watching, thinking, doing. Feeling, watching, thinking, doing. Thinking, feeling, doing. I'm gonna hide this because it keeps distracting me. Hide. And then doing. Now the other thing you could do, which is cool, is say options, conditional format, add rule to E score. And if it's blank, then make it red. Okay, and then maybe you don't lose track of which ones you still have to do. Okay, so that didn't work. So add rule to RO score. That's a problem. Get off. If it's blank, red. And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this is useful for people. Maybe it's not. Um, I mean, you got to ask, where are people actually can be filling this thing out? Are they filling it out in this table view? And if that's the case, um, okay, so that works. If that's the case, then maybe this is good. If not, maybe it was just not worth the time. Accepting, aware, evaluating, risk taker. I don't really know what these mean. 4, 3, evaluating, accepting. That's a strange one. Intuitive, questioning, logical, productive. I think I am more intuitive, and I think I'm, then I'm questioning. I'm not sure about logical. Concrete, observing, abstract, active, concrete, observing. I'm going to say 4, 3. How fun is this, by the way? Just watching me do this. It's a good lesson for future oriented. Okay, well, let's just put a 4 there. For the next videos is like, maybe I need to do one where I don't have to. Boy, I can't believe I'm putting competent almost at the bottom. Yeah, these are tough. These are tough. Intense, reserve, rational, responsible. Like, I don't know. Let's say rational first. I don't even really know what rational means. Okay. So now we're done. So the next question is, how do we actually get those scores? And so if I have done this now, so here's where what I might do is say, uh, first of all, I want to bring up the expand row button. Oh, hi. If you are just joining, first of all, I hope that you're able to join because I can't really tell if this is recording. I may just be talking to myself in my daughter's bedroom with like 1980s Andes staring over my shoulder. If you are watching, this is the first episode of me handcrafting micro tools in Coda. So this is the thing that I love to do the most. It's what I do for my work through morning strategy, and it's what I find more and more people are looking to do for themselves, which is, maybe you started with some spreadsheets, you added a bunch of like SaaS applications, and now it's like you don't use them, the SaaS products very often, or you use a couple of features, and it's like, let's just grab the 3 or 4, 5, 6 kind of workflows, features from across your tech stack that bring you like 80% of the value, and we'll just make a new tool. And you can integrate if you want, or you can just like outright replace those other tools and start fresh, and like just make it simple, make it clean, make it as fun as you want, because like, you can add icons here, and adding that PDF is pretty boring. But if you wanted to instead write, put in the rocket ship, now, like now we're having fun. Now we're having fun. So, right. So what I've done here, for those of you who don't know as much about Coda, is, these tables are databases. Create all the questions for this test here, and I've filled them out. But what I want to do is aggregate them and eventually end up with, Andy's learning style inventory score, and Jody's, and Billy's and whatnot. So um, every row of a database can be opened and treated like they call it a modal. It's like a view of something, right? So um, probably what I want to do here is say, okay, learning style. So what I'm going to do is say add a column down here that's created by, oh, created by. Okay, so that's me. No, I'm not going to do created by. I'm going to take that off. I'm just going to do a people column, empty people column, and I'm going to put me on everyone. Okay, but I can't. So, how far down am I? All the way down. Okay. So now what I can do is go back and say I am going to make this the person column, and this will be another column type people, and I'll select myself, and then I'm going to filter this view to say, okay, go add a formula. I'm going to say go to the learning style inventory questions table and filter it where the people, it should really say person, we'll change the name of that column. People equals, let's say this row dot person. All right, okay, so that says go to this big table down here, look for any of these questions that were completed by me, and then bring them into here based on whether this is the right person here. Boy, that was a rough explanation. So then if we had other people, we'd be able to see their questions here. So for the moment, let's not worry about the fact that the only copy of these are the ones I did. But okay, so they've at least all pulled in. And so now what I could do is say, I'll do another number or a number column and call this CE score. And I'm going to say, wait a sec. Right, okay, so this should not be let's insert a column. This shouldn't be the display column. Okay, so right now this little bookmark thing is indicating that that's what gets pulled up here for these questions. Okay, but it's really just the CE word. So that doesn't make sense. So what I'll do is say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and we'll call this question. And I'm going to right click and make it the status display column. Okay, so that makes a little more sense there, that at least it's seeing all these questions. So what I am going to do is say CE score, and I'll say equals. Now, how are we going to do this? For each question here, so learning style inventory questions, and that's this row. This says, you can see there, this row, learning style inventory. So for that, I want to now, what that's seeking, you see what's that do? The dot operator will pull up anything associated with that row. So it's saying like, okay, we've got a whole bunch of rows in here. Row one is, question one. And for that row, we've got all of these different columns, associated data. So for CE score, what I want is for every one of these, I want the CE score. So say dot, give me the CE score. But the problem is that is pulling in this row, which is actually, it's like looking up to this other table, right? So I'm just still getting, and you can see by the chip, I'm still getting a bunch of rows. So what I want is the CE score. Okay, and then instead of just getting a bunch of numbers, I want to sum them. Okay, CE score. So I don't know if it's going to be easier for me to duplicate this and say RO score and then change it. It depends on how, I guess. So I could say RO score dot What? Oh, uh, it should be C score, right? It should be score. It's generic there. So what's happening over here is, where did that go? I just want the score now, right? Okay, so RO score sum. All right, and then I can duplicate calculation and say, what's the next one? AC score. Hey, all right, somebody out there. Um, thanks for coming. Again, I have no access to the chat. I'm on a single laptop. Um, doing what I can here. Next time I hope to get a couple of windows up where I can also interact with the chat and maybe even like answer a question or say like hi to people. AC score dot score, and then one more duplicate, and that is the AE score. Okay, and here we're going to edit the formula and say AE score dot score. Okay, wow, so very balanced, other than this CE one. So now what we might want to do is go open this up. So I'm going to edit the layout of this. Okay, so what this does is let me change the way this information is presented. Okay, so now what I can do is say, you can see I actually have access to make this a table or not instead of just looking them up. Maybe I don't even need them in here, but who knows? Maybe this is the interface through which the person is actually like entering the information. I can center that. I kind of um, oops, tend to go through all these and like try to make them a little bit nicer. Um, One other thing we really probably should be doing. Okay, so now I'll come back to what I was about to say, but now I should really edit these columns and say take the question out. CE word CE score. I need the RO score. Then I need the AC word AC score. AE word AE score. All right. So I'm going to make the column twice, or the column heading larger. Can score there. Knock this one down. And then maybe we'll be able to actually see all of this on the same view. Yeah, you pretty much can. Okay, so that's awesome. I also like to put these over on the right sometimes. So now, you could update this if you were like, oh boy, I really want to mess with my stuff. So what do I have here? 4213. Yeah, so it's like if I try to select it, I can't do anything. But what I can do is clear that and say, no, I want this one to be a 1 and this one to be a 3. Isn't that interesting? When there was one that was empty, it turned the whole score to 0, which means we need to fix the way that formula works in those scores. So I'll go back here, put 1, put 3. Is that what I said? No, I think, no, that's not what I said. That's a 1. That's a 3. Okay. So what's happening here? Edit formula. Use that score. I guess I could put here like dot filter where maybe not there, maybe here take all of these and filter, oh man, filter where CE score, no, CE score is not blank. Okay, so if we do that and then go back in, and then if I take out a CE score, okay, so now it stays there. And actually, I could probably bring in options, conditional format, and bring in those. Right, okay, so now, so the problem was, for whatever reason, when one of these was blank, it's just, it's not performing the calculation. So filter CE score. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, filter where the CE score is not blank, and I now have to add this to every one of these things. And instead of dot filter where row score is not blank, dot where C score is not blank, and where a E score is not blank. Okay, and the other thing I think that's interesting here to do is to go down here and try to pull out. Here we go. Okay, so concrete experience. So if I grab this, I can put it in here. I think this is the right spot to do it. So if I go here and I say add description, oh, that is not what I want to do. I better go here. Sometimes copying from PDFs within Coda doesn't really work. So if I do that, okay. All right, it's a bit much, right? But I mean, you could see that now when you're in here, at least it would tell you kind of what this means. Um, so I don't know. Maybe that's valuable. Maybe not. I'll come back to that. 218. So I've been at this for just about like 45 minutes. I should probably try to find a way to make this replicable for a person. So what would a new person do when they came into this? They would say, I want to be a part of this beautiful system, which would mean a button that says like, let me score myself, jeez. And we'll put an icon in that's like a shrug. Can I get a shrug? It's like the emoji shrug. Let me score myself, jeez. And I'm gonna make it blue and large. And I usually go to the advanced, and oh, this will be new uh new learner, I guess. We're learners, right? So new learner only for errors. I don't, otherwise every time you click it, it's gonna like, yeah, it'll pop up with a thing. So what do we want this button to do? I think we want it to, well, first of all, it's gonna have to run actions. It's gonna have to do a couple of different things, but one of the things it will do is open row, add row. So we're gonna open up a row, which is this, right? Open a row, but we need to add a new row for the learner. Okay, so we're going to add a row. And actually what we'll do is say person. We're going to edit this column to value for new rows be the user. And then we won't have to define in the button when we say add row, we won't have to say add a row where the person is the user. It's like it'll just do it itself. So add row to what table? What do we call that? Learning style. Uh, learning style. Okay, so what that'll do is I click on it, great, right? It added, but the problem is it's pulled in because this is a formula looking up to find all of the Andy Farnsworth rows here. So as soon as it dumps me in, it's like, yeah, it finds me again. So first of all, let's take that out and say we want to disable this. If not, maybe it's not disable. Maybe it's open it up. Um, maybe what we want to do is say on click instead of uh-oh. Oh boy. I deleted the whole table. Did anybody see that? If you didn't see it, it didn't happen. Okay. Control Z did wonders there. So instead of just running actions, I think what we want to say is before we try to run those actions, say if uh, learning style dot person dot contains user. Okay, so what this is going to do is say, hey, if the person has already got a thing going on, oh man, I think I deleted. I don't know what's going on here anymore. That doesn't look good. We'll come back to it. Yeah, so this says if the person has already created a learning profile. So if the table contains user, then we want to open row learning style dot filter where person equals user. Otherwise, we're going to start running actions to create the new row. Okay, so the if statement says if this condition is met, then do this, and it comma if not, then do the other thing. So now what should happen is when I click on this, yeah, it just opens up my existing profile. Now the only problem with that is now I probably can't test. And what is going on with these formulas? It's like they're fine. Should I just refresh? I'll just refresh. Hey, okay, there's no problem anymore. Okay, so I think the last thing that I would do then is probably, and this is how I manage a lot of my template stuff, is I'll put a checkbox column in and call it template. Okay, and I'm just going to check all for now. And now I want to copy new row. Okay, and I'm going to, there's probably a lot easier ways to do this, right? Okay, and then I can, there's 10 down to here, delete those. Okay, so now I have these template ones because what we need to do is when a person has come in and clicked this for the first time, they are going to open a row, add a row to learning style, but they're also going to they're going to make new rows within the question table, right? So that they have they have questions to answer. So actually, first, before I do that, I'm going to do the same thing with the people table here. I'll say person, first of all, and we're going to edit the column such that the new row is user. No, I don't want to apply that to all blank rows. Okay, back into the button, open row, add row, and then the other action we want to run is to learning style inventory questions. And we're going to filter that for template equals false. No, equals true. So it defaults to true. If you just put template, it defaults to that. That's the same as saying template equals true. So you can just leave it there. So now it says learning style, inventory, filter, find all of the template columns, and then I'm going to do a for each. So dot for each. And that says for each one of those ones, uh, we're going to do some sort of operation because we're going to find 10 of them. We know that there's 10 questions. So for each one of those, we're going to say duplicate rows. The row that we're going to duplicate is current value. And that's it. I think that might be it. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I'm now going to say for this dot not. Okay, just temporarily so that I think that will override and let me create new rows. Okay. I see what happened. Okay, let me undo that. So what I did, and I hope hopefully you out there you saw this, I left in the template all of the answers filled in. So nothing happened. Okay, so when it copied the template questions, it copied the scores as well. All right, so now we've got oh, right, because the formula is looking up to me. Okay, so what's happening is when we create it, regardless, this learning style inventory questions is looking up to find me, and actually it's not putting my person in there. So let's go back and take this off. We'll say blank there. And we'll go back up to the, actually, yeah. I just did it again. Get done, done. We're going to go down and find all of these columns now and delete them. I'm going to right click, and now when we make each of these duplicate rows, the person is going to be the user. Okay, so that's the current user. It'll put my name in there. I'm going to take this not back off. And I think maybe I'll share this with my other profile. Oh, don't spam my email. Send. Copy the link. Okay. Uh, if we go over here, put this in now. When I come in, let me score myself G's. So I can still come in and I can check out other Andy and be like, oh, look at Andy's score. That's so interesting. But if I click fingers crossed, all right. All right, so now this is my row and I can add in all of my scores here. And if I go back to here, then yeah, so it's created a new one. And I mean, if I really wanted to, I could start pulling out related columns here to say, get the photo and I like to get the name, right, column names, and then I do like to take, let's see, I'll insert a new column after the text and call this first name. And this one is just take the name and do a split. And we're going to split on the space. And so you can see it takes the name, finds a space, splits it into a list with two parts. And so now I can say I want the first part. And it'll just give me my name. Yeah, because now we could go to options and change this to cards and be like, card display. That's not what I wanted. Columns. I want the photo on there. I want the name. And now I'll take the person off. And maybe what I could do is put, see, so here's where if I'm doing this for real, what I'm doing is in the back end, calling like a DB, what I call learning styles. And this DB formatting I got from Scott, SimpleDocs, Coda guy, and I'm gonna just take this now. Actually, if I copy it, yeah, could create duplicate. Keep rows? What in the world? I've never seen that before. Okay, so now I've got the copy of learning style. I can take this one, move it over to learning styles. I can turn it back because this is my primary table. So I can turn it back into a table and I can show, let's not show that yet. I'll show the first name, person, underscore, and then what's the order? CEROAC. All right, okay, because now what I've got is I can call this DB learning style. I've got this backend table that I can uh, just make sure I like never touch, right? Or like if I need to use uh, lost what I was saying there. Right, if I need to edit it or something, then I can do that from back there, and I can keep this. I can keep this for display purposes. So I'll put in the name of, if this is your company, morning strategy, learning styles. And now what will happen is when I click, yeah, so that's good. But what I was actually going to do was put in a summary column. This is a good use of a compose column where you can say, okay, CE, and then say at CE score. I might say RO at RO score, AC score. Okay, and now, so that would be score summary. Now what I can do on the cards is add that in at the bottom. Hey, where did I just put that? Didn't I just put that here? Am I crazy? Strategy learners columns. How come I'm not seeing it? Now I'm like really concerned that I have like lost my mind. Layout. Oh no, did I not do connected views? I didn't make it a connected view. Ridiculous. Okay, here's what I'm gonna have to do. edit compose content. So that's a good lesson. I don't do that very often. But it seems like what I did instead of oy, uh, okay. So instead of making a control C, control V connected view, I just made copies or I made a duplicate. And so now you can see it's connected. Oy, okay. Uh, don't make don't make duplicates of your tables. It's why Coda is awesome. It lets you create views. Okay. And it looks like that's actually a little bit too big, but I'm not worried about it at the moment. You clean that up. We could clean that up later if we wanted. So that's cool. Now everybody can come in and get their scores. Um, and we're at an hour, so I mean, I think I have, other than, where is the reference PDF? Other than, making it so you could plot it on this thing, and I know there's a mermaid pack. It probably has, yeah, quadrant chart. So he could probably, Leandro's mermaid pack lets you do a quadrant. You could plot there, and you might even be able to plot different people, so you could see your whole team on there. Actually, you probably could, and that'd be pretty neat. Um, but yeah, so the only other thing that I would likely do here is, um, when you're looking at this, it's like you need some ability to, you need some like direction sort of. So it's like when I'm trying to do that kind of thing, first of all, I don't like seeing the hidden column link. I guess I can leave comments on. Um, so what I'd probably do is put in a text column here, which would be like instructions, and then within the instructions, I'd add a formula and just plunk in those instructions. Actually, where were they? I'll just copy them from here. Do not make ties. I like that part. I didn't put it in brackets or in quotation marks. Do not make ties. Okay. And then that you can kind of put up here, and now there's at least some instructions, but it still looks pretty junky. So, I mean, what I would normally do at this point is make that label big, probably hide the label for this one. I might make the instructions, like center the instructions. Yeah, and then it definitely needs the old modal lines trick. So I do this on a lot of my uh, docs where I put a settings page and then I'm going to pull in from my CRM, I guess. No, it's system formulas. No, collaborative settings. Right, modal lines. Okay, so I'm going to pull in this whole formula set. What this does is create just a rectangle of width, 2000 and height 2, and here you can put in the hex code for the color, so you can put your brand color or something in there. But then we go back to my thing here, edit layout, add a new column, we'll call it line 1, and in the formula, we'll say modal, there it is, modal line formula. Okay, and then anytime you want a line, you just call it up like that, and then hide the label and center it. And now you've got a divider. Okay, so that's a little bit nicer. Maybe we want to duplicate it and put it here. Okay, all right, that's prettier. So yeah, I think if I have more time, and probably my next step would be to do some sort of comparison here to say, okay, well, I'm this Andy, and uh, and let's say I have to work with this Andy, this guy in his butterfly wallpaper, and so like, if I feed both of these scores into Coda AI or even through an external pack to ChatGPT or to OpenAI or somewhere else, um, then I can start asking for help and be like, okay, how do I work with this guy? He clearly doesn't brush his hair. Are we going to be able to work together? You can start asking questions like that where now you're using this contextual information to sort of like guide the um, AI's like pattern seeking response generation. So that'd be a cool next step. That and getting that plot working so that you could score your team and check out where people sit in different places, because then you'd be able to start asking questions like, uh, well, why don't I actually do this? Why don't I do this? I'll say, uh, actually, I'm just going to copy these, I think. Can I do that? I can't. I have to go here and copy this. Can I even copy this? I don't know if I can copy that. Here are my results on the Kolb. Just, yeah, good. The next time I have a sales call, how can I use this information to improve my learning about the person and the opportunity? I'll say the lead. All right, strong preference. Good. So it's like actually helping me. Uh, how can I best improve my learning in the areas where I'm weaker? Right, so you start to be able to get a lot more helpful information. And if you wanted to build this tool out, to really help your team, I think that's where it would go from there to say, hey, I'm approaching this type of work. Here's, my learning score, and how does this impact the way I do this type of work, and how can I get better? So anyway, yeah, weekly thing, first of all. I wonder if I can add chapters later on. Gonna do this every week. would love to have people submit uh, ideas for uh, micro tools that they want me to build. Again, I've got a long backlog of things like this that I can sort of noodle away at, but would way rather build something that is going to be useful for somebody. And so, yeah, what I'm hoping is I build this thing over time, and then I've got a lot to choose from. And whoever's thing I pick, if I pick your micro tool and build it, then I'll give it to you. I'll just share you the doc, and you can have it and use it. So if that is an incentive to engage, I'm not a marketer, so I don't know how to finish that sentence. But is there anybody still here? Hey, concurrent viewers zeroed. Nobody chatting either, which is good since I had no access to it. But um, thanks, 15 viewers, and to all those in the future, come on back next week because we're gonna do it again. All right. I'm Andy from Morning Strategy, and this has been Handcrafting Micro Tools in Coda, live and unscripted. See you later. Oh, it's my birthday. Happy birthday to anybody else whose birthday it happens to be as well as to me. Okay, thanks.